Hey everyone, this is the SSW AI team, and welcome to our Sprint 7 review and retro and Sprint 8 forecasting. So let's jump right into it. Looking at our sprint goals for Sprint 7, we have one that is partially complete, which was to clear out the Sprint 6 carryover. So we still have a few small issues to complete there. So this goal was not achieved, but we have achieved our second sprint goal, which is to refine the sprint email skill, which is actually being used to generate these emails. So it looks a lot better from previous iterations, and it follows a consistent template so that we get a kind of good quality output all of the time. Looking at our sprint details, um, for Sprint 7, our attendees for the review and retro were myself, Callum, Lewis, and Caleb. Looking at our sprint backlog, the first item to call out is persisting our generated meeting dashboards to a database for centralized summaries, which is a feature for SSW Tiger. Willow, would you like to cover the changes that you've made here?
Yeah, sure. So before, when we generate the dashboards, we didn't save it anywhere, so we can't come back to see how it goes. We just need those URL links, and it's also deployed to search. So now we have stored those dashboards into our own database, and we have been using our own domain. We deploy it to dashboards SSW Tiger. Yeah, that's all for this PPI. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have
Any
any
questions?
questions? Yeah.
No questions? Alrighty. In that case, I will keep it moving. The next thing I want to call out is the content vault changes. So Caleb, would you like to explain this PBI here?
Yeah, so I found an issue with Content Hawk while it was running the weekend before I started work last week, and it was creating open issues for no, it was creating PRs for issues that had already been tagged in other PRs. So I just made a fix to the agent so that it does a check for open issues in other PRs before it starts bundling PRs to try and fix them again.
Yeah. Any questions here or happy to keep moving? Alrighty, I'll keep it moving. The next one is also for Content Hawk, which is currently blocked. Caleb, do you want to cover this one?
Yeah, so we've got the video fully recorded and it's got an end-to-end walkthrough on it, and it's Lydia and Pam editing it at the moment, and that's just what we're blocked on. I was about to send them an email this morning asking if we could have the video done by Tuesday, but I only just realized that the sprint review is today, which is why I didn't send out an email.
Yeah. But aside from that, everything else has been implemented. It's just the video at this point. Any questions here or happy to keep it moving? Cool. None from there. Sweet. So I'll keep it moving. The next issue is our sprint ceremony email skills. So thanks to the Yakshaver team who tested out our initial draft of the skill, as well as our test run last week inside of SSW AI, we got a lot of points of feedback that I've kept tracked inside of an Epic, and then gone through and implemented them. So looking at a snippet of last week's generated email, you can see there's a lot of issues with it, one of which is the big red header, no SSW logo, etc. There were a bunch of issues that we've now fixed. This is a snippet of our current iteration, so a lot of new things. I won't cover them entirely, but if there's any questions, please feel free to let me know. Is there any questions on this PBI, or should I keep moving?
I got one question.
Yeah.
For spring ceremony email skills, so is there like a estimate date for like other projects? For example, Eagle Eye can use it
Yes.
or need more testing?
Oh, Adam has dropped off, but currently we just need some canary testing to kind of figure out more feedback points. But yeah, I will be doing that this sprint, kind of getting the teams to try it out and give me points of feedback. But one of the things that we want to implement still is sort of customization of templates, since we know that every team sort of has their little stats that they want to include that isn't kind of shared across all of the teams. So we want to standardize the customization process before it rolls out to all of SSW. But yes, canary testing will be happening this sprint.
Yeah. So you guys just basically need to make it more customizable, yeah, before rolling out to our teams. Okay, very good.
Sweet. Any other questions on this one?
And have you used it for this meeting today?
Yes. So these sprint emails is generated with the new skill. So you can see there's a bunch of differences based off our previous iterations.
Right. Okay. And has anyone given this a test pass?
I had Lewis take a brief look, but I haven't had a chance to officially get people to test it out just yet.
Right. Okay. You know that the Yak Shaver sprint review is on today?
Yes.
Will you be able to use it for that?
We would, but it would require a bit of kind of customization from the Yak Shaver team, kind of calling it out, because they do have several sections that are unique to the Yak Shaver team specifically. And those aren't covered in the template, but they can be introduced if you just call them out in the sprint and kind of run process transcript.
Do you want to, what are the things in their sprint that would stop them using this?
Oh, it wouldn't stop them. It would just be a bit more effort from them. But from memory, I believe they have some stats that are tracked specific for Yak Shaver that we don't have in our template.
Is that like the number of tenants that are using it?
Yes, I believe so.
Right.
So it's definitely usable by them. It would just require more
customization. If they have to add that section.
They would have to call it out during the meeting, for example. So let's say they're going through it. They would say, hey, we want this section here. This is the information that needs to be in it. And then once they finish recording, they would feed that transcript into the process meeting transcript skill, which would then introduce those separate sections.
Okay. What about building something that just puts that section in there? Because ideally, wouldn't they use that email in that sprint review, the first sprint review, and the summary, they regenerate it?
Yeah, so that's an issue I've created in the backlog, and we've got it planned out for next sprint, which is to make the template more customizable for teams. So we want to introduce a kind of third skill that people can use to add in whatever sections that they want to add, and save that template for future runs so that you have your own, for example, Yak Shaver sprint review template that has all the sections that you need.
Right. Okay. All right. Also on Wednesday, there is the Tina sprint review. Do you think we could use it for that?
I believe so, because they have less additional sections and it would just be one or two things. So I think the Tina team could use it.
Okay. Would you be able to get like Eli to generate it and give it a pass and then, or make the extra bits for him?
Of course.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Awesome. In that case, I will keep it moving. There is a SophieBot issue that I want to quickly call out. I believe this one here, Luke, do you want to cover?
Yeah, so I'm doing this switch to SSW production because we need like more production data for CRM integration. Yeah, so I do have access to SSW production now, but there's an issue I cannot see the ball when I click I got error. So I need to pair with Chris tomorrow to have a look together. Yeah.
Awesome. Any questions on this one, Adam? Should we keep it moving?
Should we have a video how we made the skill for sprint reviews and
yes,
on the rule for sprint reviews?
Yes,
because at the moment we tell people to make a big long fat email.
That is also in the backlog for this sprint.
Oh, is it? Okay, awesome.
That could be
fully.
cool chewing the fat, I thought as well,
Mhm.
once it's ready.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions here, Adam?
No, that's good.
Awesome. I will keep it moving. Looking at our internal hours for this sprint, it has been primarily myself and Luke on SSW AI, with Caleb having a few less hours and Willow being on it for a little bit. Looking at our recent velocity.
Don't,
Yes.
don't we add the internal hours above the sprint backlog so we know who was working before we look at the backlog?
I believe so. So
Yeah.
I think this is just the section I haven't moved. So I'll go ahead and move that. Creating a PBR after this and just shift
how,
it.
how will you fix this? Do you go into the skill and say the order that you want, or how do you get this moved up?
Yeah, so we're using a template to make sure it's consistent. So it would literally just involve moving the template, the chunk in the
Okay.
template above.
Okay, so the question is, where did you get this order from?
Initially I just grabbed it from, so I got a lot of feedback from all of the teams based off of what they wanted to see from this template, and then just applied it to the existing one. So this must have been something no one else has called out beforehand, and I just didn't move it there. But I should have grabbed it from the rule.
Yeah, but yes, you should have. Yeah, I would
Yes.
check the rule for
Yes,
other
I
things as
will.
well.
Okay, can do. Awesome. Any other questions here, Adam?
No.
All right. In that case, I will hand it off to Caleb to cover our recent velocity and R&D. Caleb, you're muted.
Okay, so the recent velocity is a little bit down this sprint, but the guys tell me that that's because there were more effort points pulled in that weren't part of the initial planning for this sprint. So that should be fine next sprint. In terms of R&D, we had Michael investigating.
Hold on. I'm just going to give you some feedback. See how you have some of these columns with the words in them, such as points has the PTS indicating
Yep.
points, but in working days you don't say days. Yeah, so I would put the days there.
Yep.
Or I would delete the points from the other, which I think I would probably lean towards deleting the points.
Okay.
So it's just the numbers.
Yep.
And well, it's up to you guys. You could delete the word points off the headings and just say delivered and original, and then you can leave the points there. Does anyone have a preference?
I think we should just delete the points if we've already got points in the label.
Yeah, I think we should keep the heading points and then delete PTS.
Okay.
I honestly would rather delete from the heading because then the columns would be narrower. I was also going to say, I feel like the original column should be on the left and then the delivered on the right, because it's sort of like the order you do it. You commit first and then you deliver after.
Yes. And I would bold the delivered column because I just think it's the most important thing we're talking about.
Yep. Alrighty.
Okay, so delete from the column headings, delete the word points and days. And then reverse them around and put delivered after original and bold that column.
Yep.
And working will have working, and in all the data we'll have the days.
Yep. Got it. Anything else, or should we move on to R&D?
No, that's good.
Awesome.
Right. So for R&D, we're claiming the work that Michael did for the sprint review email generation, just because the adjustments for that and the whole idea of generating a sprint review email is a bit novel. I've listed the work that I've done with agentic workflows this sprint just because this is a very novel feature. GitHub considers it to be in the R&D phase, so the fact that we're delivering features with it is something that's worth listing as experimental. Would somebody like to move on, pick up the AI tool usage?
Yeah. Lewis, I'll pass it on to you.
Yep, thank you. So Michael, Willow, and myself have been using the same, so Claude Max Opus 4.6 and Yaksheva Desktop. Willow has also been using Copilot CLI. From Luke, it's just been Gemini Chat and for chat and Claude Code Opus 4.6 for coding. For Caleb, he's been using Claude Pro for large changes, and then GitHub Copilot plus Copilot Agent for smaller changes. And for Callum, he's been using Claude Code Opus 4.6 on the 20x subscription, Codex plugin, and the new Yaksheva 360.
Awesome.
And
any questions here, or should we keep it moving?
Well, I can see that Michael Q is using Claude Code Max, and so is Willow. Is Callum using Claude Code Max?
Yes. So it's
Max 20x.
Well, to be clear, the product is not called Claude Code Max. The product is called Claude Code. The model is a separate option, which is Opus 4.6, and the subscription is yet another separate option, which is the Max 20x subscription. So I think we need AI to
clean up
be more consistent with the naming, because I assume that's just sort of repeating what everyone said rather than categorizing it correctly.
Yes.
Right. So the Michael, Willow, and Callum are using the same one. Oh, and Lewis. So you're all using 20x, is that right?
Correct.
Right. And Lewis, are you new on 20x?
Yeah.
Okay, that took a long time to to respond. Did you forget? Wasn't it all right? Was it not exciting to move on to 20x?
I mean, what's exciting? It got like a bunch more like usage, so I could basically spam requests, which was nice.
Right. Okay. So it definitely felt different, did it? Once you got it.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, I can still see that Michael, Willow, and Callum and Lewis look different.
Yes, I will. I can update it just to make sure it's all consistent after this, before I send out the emails.
I just fix it now while we're going. Willow,
sure thing.
How long have you been on 20x?
I think a month or two.
A month or two. And have you got more productive with 20x or not?
Yeah, I think I felt, because I don't need to worry about if I'm gonna hitting the limit or not. So I just use the Opus 4.6, and I think the quality is better.
Okay, and if you're got unlimited use of Claude Code, what is triggering you to go to Copilot?
Because I mainly use Claude Code for Tiger, and for Yaksheva I use the Copilot, my own subscription, because I don't want that to run out of the credits. Like if the Tiger still needs that, so yeah, I use them for separate projects.
So you're worried that you would exceed usage on 20x, is that correct?
Yeah, because for that account we are sharing and use that, so.
Sure. Okay, so Callum, have you ran out on 20x? Do you think there's a chance that Willow's right?
You got to try really hard to run out.
Yeah, if I can just jump in quickly, the closest I've ever seen it get is 86% in the current session. That was the closest we ever got to hitting our limits.
Were you trying really hard to do it as well?
Yeah, Josh was trying really, really hard, and we couldn't get it. And session reset. So yeah.
Okay, so Willow, you could be jumping at shadows.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
I think I can use
it. Is everyone? All right, is everyone happy with all that stuff?
Yep.
Awesome. I think I would bold the 20x, and I'm not sure you need the word subscription, but it seems redundant to me.
Yep.
Yeah, I think just 20x is enough. Yeah.
Awesome.
Seems to be the most important thing there. All right.
Yep.
Good.
Awesome.
That's cool how you can still live edit this thing as you're going, by the way, even though it's a nicely styled document.
Yeah.
So nice work there.
Thank you. In that case, we'll keep it moving. Lewis, do you want to cover the AI stats?
Yep. So on the Claude stats, so what was done this sprint? So it says the Tiger dashboard persistence, sprint ceremony, email skill improvements, contact Hawk duplicate PR prevention, Sophie guardrail added, and completed CTF preparation task. So I think they're all right except for the Sophie guardrail. I think that was for the phone.
Yes,
So
it was for the AI
Sophie?
receptionist. So
Yeah.
it's because our receptionist's name is Sophie, and I just called it that. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then that's correct. So it's from Claude, it's all good.
Awesome.
And from Copilot, you see from the Copilot stats, so Michael spec the most, then Callum, then myself, then Caleb. So right. And what was the main item completed? And the response was refining and completing the sprint ceremony email skill. So that's correct because that was the sprint goal.
Yep. Awesome. In that case,
And
I will keep.
How close are we to getting the Tiger sprint? The Tiger sprint review analysis email done. The video on that.
As in the video on that?
Yeah.
If you're talking about the where Tiger sends out emails to all of the people, that's an issue that I've pulled into this sprint. So hopefully we'll get it done this sprint.
Okay. Is that something you've been working on, Willow, in the last week?
No.
No.
Yeah.
What are you working on, Willow?
I was working on to store the dashboards into our database and deploy that to our own domain instead of deploying to search.
But that is one of the items that you want for that video, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes. So it was. You have been working on it. That's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, are we happy to keep moving?
Yep.
Awesome. Looking at our decisions from the prior meeting, so it's called out kind of a couple fixes here and there that we've noticed, as well as Callum's call out for a CTF automation skill to kind of automate the more painful parts of it, so that it becomes a smoother process. We also spoke about Anthropic banning open clause usage based off of subscriptions, and then looking into a alternative which uses Agents SDK to invoke Claude code in the CLI. So that's a spike for our next sprint to figure out whether that is viable or if we need to switch models. Any questions here?
Can you explain that a little more?
Yep, of course.
So is this related to Sophie Claw and Kogan Claw, is it?
Correct. So we've been using the OAuth token from the subscription to access the models.
Right.
That has been something that's been changed, so you actually can't access those models through OpenClaw anymore, because they're considered third-party tools and just something that is banned. So if we want to continue using Anthropic's models, we'll have to use either the API billing or look into using it with Agents SDK so that it invokes Claude code instances in a CLI and isn't treated as a
I don't think we want to
third-party.
do that because that's not part of Sophie Claw or Kogan Claw. So they'd be building something completely custom, which is a lot of work. My suggestion would be to use something like Kimi, because Kimi has an Anthropic compatible endpoint. But you're using the Kimi model in the background, and that's like a fraction of the cost. That's what I've been using when I've been playing with OpenClaw. So maybe we can have a look if that is still the best recommended option. And do we have a rule on this stuff that should be updated?
No, I do not believe so. Not on the best.
Okay, maybe we should have a rule about, do you know the best way to use OpenClaw now that Anthropic's blocked it or whatever. That would be a cool rule.
Yeah, I think so.
Sweet.
Any other questions here, or should I keep it moving?
All good for me.
Awesome. I will keep it moving. So a couple backlog changes from our sprint review call. Updating the status of one of the PBIs, moving in one of the PBIs into the backlog, and then adding another PBI for the agent skills repository into the backlog, which is to customize, allow for customized email templates, which is for, teams like Yakshare Latino who have those specific points of data that they want, but wouldn't be shared across teams. Any questions here? Should I move on to the sprint retro? Awesome. I will keep it moving. Looking at our sprint retro, so for this one, we didn't type it out manually. Instead, we just called it out inside of the call. So the top points for what went well was that the sprint ceremony email skills are much improved. So we now use the SSW logo. We use a template for consistent outputs, and it's much closer to being useful for all of the other teams. We just have a few smaller things that we want to iron out. And another thing for what went well that I want to call out is the Tiger dashboards now persisting on our own domain instead of Surge, as well as being stored in a database. This opens up a lot of new features like our portal, a pin protected links so that they're not publicly accessible, or even randomized links so that they're not human readable, and also historical comparison across dashboards.
Has that been completed?
Yes. So
and deployed?
Yes. So when we cover our dashboard for this sprint, where Lewis will show you, it'll be on dashboards.sswtiger.com. It won't be on Surge anymore.
Have you already mentioned that during this sprint review?
Yes, that was the issue that I covered for Willow on persisting generated meeting dashboards to a database.
Where's that? Highlight that.
The first issue here.
Okay. All right. All right. Willow, I think you could have when did you complete that?
This completed on Friday, I believe. The merge PR went through.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you get someone to test it?
Yes, I tested it.
Yeah.
I think that there could have been a bit more illumination of that thing's done, and yeah, I didn't hear about it. Maybe I missed it during the sprint review, and I didn't know the feature was done. I know it would have been some good news on Friday. Can I test it myself? Can I go to the portal and test it and send through a test email?
So it opens up these features, but the portal hasn't been implemented yet. It's just this is kind of the backbone of all of it.
Right. So if I go to the website to test it myself, I won't see it happening.
You'll see it in sprint review links. You'll notice that it's been moved over, but we still need to implement the portal itself to kind of have a centralized place.
Okay, so there's no way I can test it myself.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Okay. When will I be able to just log in and test it sending just a dummy email to myself and seeing how it goes?
Sending a dummy email to yourself.
Going to sswtiger.com, pasting in I don't know, pressing test or pasting in a meeting transcript or something. Configuring on my appointment or doing something. So I see how it works.
That would require the portal to get created. That issue is in our backlog, but it hasn't been dragged into this sprint yet. I believe we should be able to get or at least a experimental version up and running pretty quickly. It shouldn't be too insanely difficult.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, if that's something you want us to prioritize, we can shift stuff around.
Okay. Well, let's just say that did exist because I thought that it might. Willow, on Friday, I would have said, hey, some good news. Go in and go to the portal and test it with your last recorded meeting, and you'll notice a nice new URL, something like that.
Yeah, because we currently don't have the portal, we don't have the website. So the only way we can test is we start a meeting in Teams and recording and finish it. Then you will get the new dashboard link. Yeah,
Okay.
I will
So
send you.
let me try again. Let me try again. If you got it done on Friday, and it's an easy way for me to test, I would have said what you could do on your next recording that you record, you could do this, and Tiger will send you a email, and you'll see a nice new URL. I'm trying to teach you that you don't have to wait for a sprint review to mention something cool is done, because we've cared about that URL for months, and you got it done on Friday, and there was a very small mention of it.
Yeah, okay, got it. I will send a message next time for the feature that we are expecting once it's done.
I think you can still send me a message, like to say, hey, some good news, but if I can't test it, then you need to say, look, you won't be able to test it at the moment because we don't have a portal, and we don't have any way of you know, using it for your next meeting. It will only work if the meeting is a sprint review, so you can't test it.
Okay, got it.
Just for context on that, Adam, you can test it yourself if you jump in a meeting and just record it. As long as there's a transcript, you will get a ping from workflows. Even if it's not a sprint review, it'll tell you that, hey, it didn't match our kind of name criteria, but you can process anyway. So there's a little button that you can hit and run it regardless to see it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for telling me that. I think what you need is a very basic website, you know, vibed up with Tina, and you have sswtiger.com/docs/how to test Tiger.
Yeah.
And you put that information there, and then Willow, then you can send it to me.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Awesome. That's everything. We'll just take a quick look at the rest of our sprint retro. So for what didn't go so well, I called out that I didn't follow up on CTF topics until Wednesday, so that gave us a very short turnaround on getting CTF done. So that was something I should have been more proactive on. As for improvements for the next sprint, we want to do some canary testing of the sprint email skill with other teams to get more real feedback in terms of what else we can improve before we finalize and kind of create a done video to share with all of SSW so that they can use this skill for their sprint reviews. Any questions here from you, Adam? Should we move on to the forecast?
Move on.
Awesome. Looking at our forecast, our sprint goals for next sprint are Tiger email notifications. So sending out emails to people once Tiger's finished generating the dashboard. Another sprint goal is to show you the Yakshaver MCP done video as well as the crystal ball done video. So Lewis will be doing that. And our third sprint goal is to get the sprint email skill ready for other teams. So that would involve canary testing with other team scrum masters for real feedback. Any questions here? Should we move on?
Move on.
Awesome. Looking at the team, I have 4 days of capacity, and Willow is working between Yakshaver and the AI team, so she has 2 days of capacity. Same with Luke and Caleb, who are both 2 days on the AI team, and Lewis is all 5. And we won't have Eddie for this sprint because he's on client all week. Looking at our sprint backlog, we have a few small items that are carried over into sprint 7 that are just waiting to be closed out. A couple in review and a couple that are currently blocked with the Content Hall one. Looking at what we've planned for sprints 8, we have our testing Sophie Claw for Luke and the Sophie GPT team, and the email notifications to be sent out for the SSW Tiger team, as well as introducing a skill that would help standardize the customization of sprint email templates. Any questions here, Adam, or should we keep it moving?
Keep going.
Awesome. Looking at the insights, it's called out carryover load plus Tiger 59. Couple small items that is called out. It's also called out that we have Lewis back from client, so that's great. And it's saying that Content Hawk has been blocked since Sprint 6, so that's something that needs to be resolved, which by the sounds of it should be ready sooner or later, as Pam and I believe another video team member is on it. And it's also called out Sophie GPT's production switch, which is something Luke is working on. So looking at our backlog changes, there were a couple things that we called out in the call. So it's all been picked up, such as my availability being dropped to 4 days because of a client on Friday, or a couple extra PBIs that have been created that we were discussing, such as the agent skills, canary testing, etc. Any questions here, Adam, or should we move on to the AI stats?
Now let's keep going.
Awesome. In that case, I'll pass it on to Lewis to cover the AI stats.
Thanks, Michael. So for the next steps from what Claude has picked up, so investigate OpenClaw workaround for the Anthropic API ban. So that they listed that as critical. Canary test sprint ceremony skills, followed with Lydia on Content Hawk, moving skills to the SSW skills repository, testing the copy for email button, which I did before this call. Update Tiger to send email notifications and get email template reviewed by designer. So this is accurate, but it does cover a lot more than what we set as the sprint goal. For Copilot stats, the next item is rolling out and canary testing sprint ceremony email skills so other teams can start using it. So that is one of the items, but we are missing the videos and the email and the Tiger email notification.
Yep.
I'll just quickly pick up the screen share so I can show off the Tiger dashboard. So you see now it's being hosted on dashboards.sswtiger.com. So some key points, I'll just skim through this. Let's just so the hard truth, which I think was mentioned earlier by Caleb already, so that we only that the team committed to 27 but only delivered 12, but that was due to a bunch of reasons that was mentioned by Caleb earlier. And another thing is that Callum missed all the daily scrums this week and left the sprint review early. I think that's just suffering from success, shall we say. Moving on, so timeline. There's a few small time wasters here, but there were some of them were integral, so like discussing about R&D and AI tools. Onto the people, so participation balance moderately unequal. So as we saw from the timeline here, Michael had a lot more talking, but that's just the nature of being Scrum Master. Let me see here. The percentages are, skewed, as it says, but psychological safety is still high. So people discussing blockers openly and admitting about CTF delay and being honest. Team positioning, which is good. Any insights? So I think the most important thing is just pointing out the elephants in the room. The team capacity is 2 FTE. No idea what that means. Despite 6 plus on roster, full time. Despite 6 on the roster. So the recommendation is to calculate actual sprint hours before committing, which is what we did this sprint. Anthropic BAT treat it as spike when it's a production crisis. The recommendation was to treat as priority number 1. So I'll be talking to Hajir about what he's done with his OpenClaw instance and see what other options there might be as well. And the last elephant in the room, video editing block for 2 plus sprints. And that was to escalate. So as Caleb mentioned, he will escalate that.
Also, I don't think that was blocked for 2 sprints. We started recording it last week, and it was being edited since since Friday last week.
I think it's just the status of it was blocked, but you have made progress on it, so I think you picked up that.
It's saying it was blocked for 3 weeks, which is inaccurate.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then everything else has kind of been mentioned. Like the bird opportunities is quite similar. So CTF skill automation, Tiger historical comparison, and a spec review skill. So those are good opportunities that we could look towards. And for trends, nothing really stands out. So unless there's anything that we did talk about, we can just move on.
Yeah. Just for next time, Lewis, I would keep this a bit quicker and make sure that you've read everything and you're only going to call out the very best stuff. Yeah, we don't want to be kind of reading it as you're reading it.
Oh, I did go over it, but I just yeah.
Well, I think as you were going and looking and pausing, it looked like you were reading it at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe
I'll keep that in mind.
If you said, I just want to show you the 3 big things. This is the first. This is the second. This is the third.
Okay. Easy.
Okay. Now I think we're done with that. Just hot off the press, I saw Luke Cook sent a really good message on a chat about Tiger, and it was essentially, Callum's vision of Tiger is to help as the Scrum Master, and he's saying, well, if that's your vision, we should have it be a bit more visible. So it, potentially it's there during the meeting, and midway through it puts up its hand and you go, yes, Tiger, and it gives you a few thoughts about that. It might say something, but yeah, I think that would be amazingly good branding if that's the case. So you could have an option where Tiger was active and participating in meetings, or silent and just helping, which is the way it's working at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something worth looking into. So we can create a spike, do some investigation on what an implementation would look like, and then go from there.
That would obviously be a lot more tricky.
Yeah.
Depending on whether we can get, I guess, live transcripts and pipe it to an AI or something like that. One of the reasons why currently Tiger needs to wait till after is that's when we get the trigger with the transcript in it. So yeah, we'll need to do some investigation, see what is possible. But yeah, it would definitely be cool if we can do something there.
Yeah. Was there anything else, or should we keep it moving to wrap up?
Yep, all good.
Yep,
Sweet.
back
In
to
that
you,
case, I'll take over the screen share. So this has been the SSW AI team. Everything will be available on the SSW channel. Thank you all for joining me today. I'll see you all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You